When Arla was a small child of 6, she was playing in the dirt with sticks in her grandmother's backyard. She was approached by what she described as a hairy boy. She was not afraid, probably because she was not taught to be afraid, like some of us are at that tender age. The two children simply looked at each other before the hairy one casually turned and walked off. Young Arla's innocent heart did not judge him or fear him for his differences. It was the beginning of a beautiful, lifelong relationship with the forest people. The fact that he approached her was not a coincidence, but rather a reference, a point of reference, a conscious beginning to a lifelong adventure that would bless her life and the lives of those she would touch along the way. Sticks play a huge role in the upbringing and education of Sasquatch youth. They are used for play, education, and communication. And I cannot help but imagine this hairy lad observing a young Arla playing with them and being entirely curious. I think Arla and I are much alike in the sense that we both consider ourselves to be experiencers rather than investigators. The message the forest people have for us is far more important than offering proof of their existence to a skeptical world. A few years back, Arla graced me with a visit to British Columbia. She was well received by the locals, and my clan leader, Re, took the opportunity to greet her personally. Here is my account of what transpired, guided by her thoughtful insight. The greeting. The Green Tank Trail is a personal favorite of mine. The fact that it was not a long hike was a welcome bonus, seeing as a modest group of 5 of us had just completed an arduous overday trek to a sandy riverside retreat, smack dab in the heart of my clan's home. Sue suggested I spend some time alone with Arla, and I decided to take her for a short jaunt up the Green Tank Trail. While we were gone, Sue busied herself with the mundane and underappreciated business of camp chores. We were less than 100 yards along our trail when Arla paused and gazed attentively to her right, our attention captured by something high above on the ridgeline. "It's Re," she said, pointing upward. "Can you see him?" I didn't, but Arla had the benefit of multiple decades of experience with our forest hosts, while I was just a couple of years into my journey. It was simply not my time. That did not prevent me from trying to see. However, every time I tried to focus in on what she was witnessing, I was distracted with an enthusiastic flurry of woodknocks, originating to our left down the tree-dotted slope. Their efforts were well coordinated, because every time I looked back, they would cease, only to resume with unbridled enthusiasm when I gazed upward. The comical aspect of their efforts did not escape me, however, and I remember smiling broadly. Arla, or Ma, as I affectionately call her, told me that Re was standing high up on the ridge, gazing down on us with a broad, Cheshire cat-like grin. When I attempted to look up, he would simply duck behind a tree or dissipate into thin air. "He's huge," she remarked. "His head is massive." She later stated that he could have been as tall as 13 feet, and while she had seen at least one individual in her home state of Oklahoma that was slightly taller, Re's massive shoulders and overall girth far exceeded any individuals she had personally seen. Initially, when I focused on her, transfixed on our friendly giant, I could not help but notice the depth of her emotion. She seemed to be laughing and crying at the same time. Such was the intensity of feeling he stirred in her. At one point, she uttered a soft sigh, indicative of something particularly deep and tender, and I asked her, "Ma, what's going on?" "Re just kissed my heart with big cartoon lips," she said. She had clearly felt the emotional, energetic intent of his message in a profound, concrete way. The intense purity of love from the big man's loving gesture shook Arla to her very core. I will never forget the look on her face, the tears, and the emotions that she openly displayed. As she explained it, this intense feeling was something that she had never experienced before, and the effect was plainly written on her face. There is something special ahead for you, Ari told her. Along with the obvious display of love was another element. Ari was a comic, a tease, and he grinned and laughed openly as he enjoyed the obvious rapport between the two of them. The white-haired boy, me, is nosy, he said. Along with his good-natured dig was an obvious love he had for me, and the feeling is mutual. I cannot begin to describe it in words. At one point, Arla offered the big man a question, the specifics of which I am uncertain of. However, his response was clear. Why do you ask me a question you already know the answer to? Then Ari asked her a question. Who are you? Ma can dish it out with the best of them, and she cheekily replied, Why do you ask me a question you already know the answer to? Ari's broad grin and bellowing laugh betrayed the obvious enjoyment and glee he was feeling from their interactions. Their telepathic joust went on for some time as they exchanged volley after volley that finally ended in a well-earned draw. It was great fun. Will you be back, little one? He asked her. I am not privy to her answer, but I know how I would have responded. Why do you ask me a question you already know the answer to? Yeah, that's true. Before Arla returned home a few days later, Ari guided little one to a rotting red cedar stump where he had placed a parting gift. The bulk of the red cedar stump formed a clever A glyph, Ari's personal signature. The horizontal piece that formed the A was delicately balanced, propped up with a small peeled away section of the stump. The offering was a circle-shaped stone. It signified the connection between his family and Arla's clan of Sasquatch people from back home in Oklahoma. Ari's daughter Raj had traveled to Oklahoma to meet her mate Forshna, a big, rangy Okie boy. The gift rock was also testament to the family connection between them, and in essence, the family connection of everything. That treasured stone occupies a special place in her heart and is proudly displayed in a place of honor in her home.